and welcome to the 70th episode of the What Shara Made podcast. Welcome back if you are a returning viewer, and a big hello if this is the very first episode that you're joining me. I've got a couple of whips and a couple of FOs to show you, and I've got a couple of design whips to show you as well. And sort of maybe a fail, but maybe it's a success, I'm not really sure, but I'll dive in and I'll show you. I might show you my whip first. You'll remember this, I've actually sort of only got 1.5 whips, but you'll remember this if you've been watching the podcast for a while now, because I may have started this initially in November last year, so it's a long languishing whip. I started it and I got a fair way into it, and then I put it away. I don't know why. And I haven't worked on it for a really long time. And then I got it back out recently because it's a spring sort of summer piece. And in the southern hemisphere, now it's spring and we're coming into summer, and I'm going to need those sorts of things. But when I got it back out, I realised it's probably a bit too big for me now, and I needed to make it smaller, so I started it again. And I'm probably back at the same point as when I stopped. You might remember it from the last time I made it. I'm probably about halfway through now. I'm crocheting myself a cardigan. I don't know if you can see that there. Looks, yeah, you can tell what it is. It's going to be a V-neck style. As you can see, the fronts are coming in on a slant. I've just joined under the arms there, the sleeves, yeah, just joined under the arms there, and there you go. And now I'm just doing the body, so just coming under there, just doing the body. It's going to be a shortish kind of cardigan, but pretty simple, one that I'll hopefully get a lot of wear out of in the warmer months. Sorry, it's cotton. It is Cascade Heritage Ultra Pima tones, I think. I went searching through all my stuff, all my project bags, and I cannot find a label for it, but I knew what it was, and I looked it up on the Cascade website, and well, I knew vaguely what it was, and I looked it up on the Cascade website, and that's what it's called. So that's what I've got, and I believe I've got it in the ebony colourway. On the screen there, I can see that it comes up looking quite black, speckled black, but in real life, to my eyeballs, it looks very much speckled navy, which is kind of annoying because I really wanted it to be speckled black. But yeah, and it definitely looks speckled black on the screen to me, so maybe it looks speckled black to you on your screen as well. But in real life, it definitely looks speckled navy blue. So that's what we've got going on. And if this cardigan, it's going to have sleeves as well. Sorry, that probably didn't look like sleeves there. It's going to have sleeves, if you can imagine, and a band around there with buttons and a waistband. If it works out, I will probably write the pattern for it, because it's a nice simple design, a simple pattern to make, so good for beginners but more experienced crocheters as well, and a nice way of getting into making garments for yourself as well in crochet, but it's also a nice simple design to wear as well, so if it works out the way I'm imagining it. So there we have my only current, well, no, I've sort of got another whip as well, but you'll see. So that's my present whip. The fabric that it's making is beautiful, it's really nice, and this cotton's really lovely to work with. It's not shedding at all like other cottons tend to do, which I find really repulsive. Just thinking about it makes my skin crawl. That's probably the main reason I hate working with cotton, is because it sheds little fluffy cotton dust, and I really can't stand it. It's disgusting. So I'm really enjoying that yarn and that piece, and I am looking forward to wearing that. Hopefully I can get it finished by this weekend. Fingers crossed, because I'm going to an event and I would like to wear it. But I don't know how I'm going to go with that. I started it again for the second time last weekend, and I thought I'll be able to get that cardigan finished. I'll probably have it finished by Wednesday, because crocheting is so quick. Anyway, it's Wednesday today as I'm filming this, and as you can see I do not have it finished. It's taking a little bit longer than I thought it would. I'm obviously not as quick at crocheting as I imagined in my mind, but it's coming along much quicker than if I was to try and knit myself a 4-ply cardigan in the same amount of time. So if I get cracking, like really go at it, I might be able to have it finished by the weekend. If I really worked on it, I could probably get the body done tonight if I didn't do anything else. So I will try my best to do that, and then tomorrow I just need to do the sleeves and the bands tomorrow and Friday, and then I should have it finished by the weekend. Wish me luck. But I'm really enjoying that, and I hope it works out like I'm imagining, and I'll have a really lovely cotton cardigan to wear, and then I'll start working on the pattern. I think it'd work just as beautifully in wool as well, so yeah. While I've been making it, I've been imagining other yarns I could make it in, so I think it'll be a nice one, I think. I'll show you my other whip, but I've only been working on it intermittently, as you will see. This is the world's slowest sweater. Oh good, I've pulled it off the needles as well, so I'm not even going to fix it while I'm talking to you, because it'll probably take too long. Oh, maybe I will. So you will remember this from various previous episodes, because it is my true friend sweater that I have been knitting on for a really long time. I think since July. I think I cast it on. Yeah, I cast it on in July, because I cast it on in a panic, I think the week before the Bendigo Sheep and Wool show, thinking I was going to knit myself an adult 4-ply sweater in the 5 days before Bendigo. That is crazy, clearly. And clearly I didn't do that, because that's impossible. And I'm here now. I think I'm 1 or 2 rows away from picking up all the stitches around to start knitting the body part, the stripes. So I'm getting there, but I had been using this as my travel project when I hadn't been knitting on my socks. And I had sort of been using this as my project in between other projects, so it hadn't been getting a lot of love, which is silly because it's so beautiful and it's going to look amazing, and it's going to be too hot to wear it really soon. So I'm probably not going to get to wear it if I finish it this year anyway, because the weather just won't permit it. So it may end up getting put away until next year. But thinking about that, maybe I could put it away until next year, and it could be my panic knitting that's already practically a third of the way done for Bendigo next year. So there you go, that's my other whip. Now, on to some, this is a sort of a design whip slash FO, but I'm not really sure that it's really finished. I just dropped part of it on the ground, hang on. So, this is a little swatch that I've done for it, and I've been working on this swatch for, well, I made the swatch months and months and months ago, maybe, I don't know, in April or May, that part's not important. But it's been swirling around in my head for a really long time, and I finally put it into a piece. So this is my little swatch that I had made. You can't really see the top one because the colours don't have enough contrast. So I did this top one first and it didn't have enough contrast. So then I went full contrast so you could actually see my little bee. So I wanted to do a mosaic bee, and that worked, obviously. And then I've done a little honeycomb stitch down here that needs blocking, because otherwise it sort of pulls in on itself and it doesn't look very honeycomby. So I had this swatch and it worked and I was really happy with it, and I wanted to put it into something. And the putting it into something has been the really tricky bit, and I knew I wanted it to be in a shawl. That was not hard. I knew I wanted that. And I knew I wanted it to be on the border of the shawl. That's fine. And I knew I probably only wanted 2 colours in the shawl, right? So the light and the dark, the high contrast, so that you can actually see the bees. And that's as far as I got. So then I started, well, actually how I got to this point was I was desperately trying to work on another pattern that was not going anywhere, and in the end I was having such little success with that pattern that I actually felt like I was wasting time. So I just put that away and decided to start working on this, even though I had a deadline for that one. So I felt like I really wasn't getting anywhere on that, so I put it away and started playing with this one that I don't really have such a deadline for. And I thought I'd totally figured it out, and I thought yep, this is going to be amazing, I've got it, fantastic, I finally found the pattern for my bee mosaic, this is going to be great. Started it, and about maybe a quarter of the way through, I suddenly realised I was no longer in love with it. And the more I worked on it, the more I fell out of love with it. And there were a few reasons for that, and I'll show it to you. And I don't hate it, but I definitely want to improve on it. You'll get to see it. This isn't what it's going to look like. This is more like a giant swatch. So don't think this is what it's going to look like, and I'll probably never write the pattern up for this, so don't get too excited. You probably won't, because it's not great. And it urgently needs blocking, and it doesn't look great because it hasn't been blocked. And I don't know that I will block it, but here we go, that's all good. I actually really like this section, and I'll probably use this in something else, just not this. So here we go, this is all cool. And my bees are down the bottom, down here. And it really needs blocking because you can't really see my little bees. They're just not working down the bottom there. They're just not happy. I love them, but they're they're not working down the bottom there. It's really cool. I love it. I love all these textures here. I love the stripes, and I love the, yeah, I love all sorts of things about it, but there's other things in it that I don't love. So, and I actually really love this, all the action that's happening in the spine here. So you can see how urgently it needs blocking because it's all curly. And it's sort of the wrong shape as well. Like it should just be a triangle, but certain things were happening in it that made it a bit more deep than it is wide, and that makes it an impractical shape to wear. So that's not great. So that was one of the things that was making me not in love with them. Because it's no good if you can't wear it. Make a great wall hanging, but what's the point of that? So, and if you block it so that it is the right shape, it distorts the shape of the bees, and then there's no point having you wonderful bees on there. So yeah, there's a few things happening that need addressing. So then I thought maybe I could do, because I actually am quite wild about this here, and I thought maybe that would actually make a really fantastic shawl on its own without these guys. And I would highly consider doing a shawl of that with just a little border of some other description down the bottom, not my bees, because I really like that section without the bees, because the bees just aren't working on there, and the bees are so, I love the bees so much, they deserve something really special. But I'm going to show you this up close because these sections here are actually a honeycomb brioche, and it's really cool. And it's really cool on both sides. It's actually really awesome on both sides. I love it. I mean, it's probably not, I'm probably being pretty hard on it. And the other issue was that the yarn requirements for it, to make it a size that was practical to wear so that you could wrap it around, it used almost all of 2 400-gram skeins, 400 metre skeins, and that's actually quite a long skein. If you have a look at 100-gram skeins, that's actually quite a long skein on average. So it would limit what yarns people could use, and if people's gauge was even a little bit out, they would run out of yarn right at the end of their shawl, and that would be really frustrating. So people would either need to get 2 skeins of each colour and only use a smidgen of the second skein, and that would be really annoying. I'd be annoyed if I was making a shawl and it used yarn in that way. And it's just, that's not a practical way to make a shawl. But to make it any smaller so that it used less yarn, the shawl would be too small to be a practical size to wear, because of the shape. So that was another one of the issues. So yeah, there's a few issues going on with that. that need working out, but I like it, but I don't love it. So a few things need to happen to make this an amazing shawl instead of just a mediocre shawl, and I need to find a better way of using my little bee mosaic because she's really cool. I really like her. Wouldn't mind a sweater with her on it actually. So that is my sort of a failure, but not really a failure, because it's kind of like a giant swatch. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I'll have to look into it further, but yeah, I spent so long knitting it as well that I felt a bit sort of, I don't know, cheated at the end of it, but I spent so long on it and then it wasn't really a success. But never mind, I'm sure I'll get some amazing ideas out of it or something. I'm not really sure. So that's that one. My sort of FO, sort of whip, sort of design. And I wanted to really make it, instead of out of the pink and brown, out of these two yarns. So this, what do you call that? Not ombre, gradient. So these two yarns, I think that would look really amazing. But I have to figure out the exact design before I go ahead and start using these two yarns. So yeah, with my bees. I'm not really sure. But I enjoyed it because it was really fun because there's quite a bit going on. But yeah, it's not 100% there yet. Now, my next thing is an FO, and it's sort of a design FO, but I won't be making a pattern for it. It was just something that I've made for myself. So at the moment in Australia, it's the Australian rules football finals, and I really, really love football. I know I don't look very sporty, but I really enjoy the football, and I like watching the football with my mum. That's something we do together, and we both barrack for the same team. We both follow the same team, and that is the Melbourne Demons. And they, after a very long period of not doing as well as they could, they are finally in the finals. Oh my god, I just feel nervous even saying that. Knock on wood, I hope I haven't just jinxed them. But I thought it was about time I knitted a team scarf after all these years. So I finally knitted a team scarf. Their colours are red and navy blue. And I knitted this. So, oh, it's a bit of fluff stuck on there. What a surprise. So I used my favourite technique of, well, my favourite technique at the moment of mosaic knitting, and did some lettering in there. Pretty simple. I started at one end really small and increased gradually to the midway point. And because Melbourne's got 9 letters, I just went until the 5th letter. Halfway through the 5th letter, then I started to decrease. So I knew I was at the halfway point. And did the same thing. So give you a little bit of a close up there. And if you're anything like me, you probably want to see what it looks like on the back as well. I'm always curious. I always turn things over, have a look on the back. If I can, as long as someone's not wearing it, but so you probably want to see what it looks like on the back. It's still pretty neat, which is the fun thing about mosaic knitting. So that is my Melbourne scarf or shawl. I've been wearing it a lot because I might only have one more week of wearing it with Glory. So on the weekend I took one of my nephews into the city for his birthday, and we had a day out in the city together, and we had a fancy lunch and went to some galleries, and he's really into photography, so we went to a few photography shops and things, and there were some people have done some pretty amazing street art to do with football, so I got Archie to take some photos of me in front of the murals, and I took some photos of the murals, and I'll put them in here. So that was pretty cool. They're really awesome. I really enjoyed those. And the weather was freezing in the city that day. It hailed, it rained, the wind was blowing an Antarctic gale. So I was really pleased to have my Melbourne scarf with me. But the night before, I had been watching Melbourne win the football on the telly, and I made myself a hat as well. So while I was watching the footy, and I was really happy that I made the hat because I wore it the next day, and I was so glad I had a hat because it was, oh my god, I can't even explain how cold it was. It was ridiculous. And I thought, oh, I probably won't even need a hat. I'll probably just be carrying it around for nothing and it'll be annoying, but I ended up wearing it all day long. So yeah, that was good. So this hat is crocheted using one of my patterns that I wrote many years ago, called the Libertas beanie, and it's a really quick, easy pattern, and I just grabbed some yarn from my stash that I had laying around, and it makes a pretty cute beanie. So pretty cute beanie that I wore around, and that was a good reading. I got a few comments on it from other Melbourne fans who, oh, nice hair, good, that were there to have a look at the street art and stuff. A few, thumbs up and stuff from the other fans, which was good. And fingers crossed, oh my god, really want them to win. And now my last FO is my newest pattern. By the time you see this, hopefully, I will have released this pattern because my amazing test knitters have just finished. And I think I probably showed you this, maybe I'd started this in my last episode, I'm not really sure, but I definitely showed you pictures in my last episode. I had done, maybe I was working on my other one in the last episode. Anyway, let me show you. This is the Vela shawl. I've done two so far, and this is my second one. The first one I used some amazing Millpost Merino in the mustard and natural colours, and I don't have that one anymore because I donated it to an art auction for a local primary school where my friend is the principal, to raise money for their school. But I have this one, and let's see. So I use some very different yarn for this one to get a really different effect, and I'm really happy with this. And when I haven't been wearing my Melbourne scarf, I've been wearing this, and this has been so nice to wear. And let me show you a little close up. I don't know if you can see, but one of the yarns, the variegated yarn, oh, it's not really showing up. You might get a few little sparkles. It's got, yeah, catching a few little sparkles. It's got stellina, gold stellina in it. I couldn't think of the word. And that beautiful brown, creamy sparkly one, is Earl Grey from Lovebird Lane, and it is so gorgeous. And I've been saving that yarn for a really long time because I wanted to put it in something really, really special. And I think this was the perfect project for it. I absolutely love this so much. And every time I have worn this now, I get stopped on the street because I think it's the yarn, actually, to be honest, because it really, in real life, not on the screen, Stellina never shows up properly on the screen, but when I'm like out in the sun and things like that, it's really sparkly and it's really spectacular, and it looks, it's worked absolutely perfectly in this pattern. It was the perfect combination. And the navy blue yarn that I've used with it, which kind of looks a bit black on the screen, but anyway, it's navy blue. I'm not actually sure what it is. It was something that had been caked up and put back into my stash with no label on it, which I very rarely do for this exact reason, because then I didn't know what it was. When I measured it, I measured how many meters per gram there was. I then suspected it may be hawthorn from Knit Picks, and it sort of feels like that too. It may be that, but it may not be that as well. Doesn't really matter. It's lovely anyway, whatever it is. And it has worked beautifully in this pattern and with the Earl Grey yarn from Lovebird Lane. I absolutely love this scarf. It's very long. I can wrap it around multiple times. I can get pretty crazy with it. Sometimes I sort of tie it up like this. I don't know if this is going to work, what I've been doing. I've sort of been doing something, I don't really know what I've been doing, but yeah, sort of like that. I don't know. But anyway, now I've tied my hair into it. Who knows what's going to happen now. I'm never going to get out of here. What have I done? Oh, that really hurt. But I've really been enjoying it. Really been enjoying myself wearing this. So that has been my Layla shawl. This pattern should be released any day now because my testers have just come back with theirs, and it's a really easy pattern to make because you are basically repeating the same thing over and over again, so it's very meditative. You know what I mean when I said that. I might have added an extra syllable in there. And you just increase on one side. When you get to the midway point, you start decreasing. And you can, it's one of those patterns where it's fully adjustable according to how much yarn you've got. So it's best if you've got scales, but if you don't, you can still do it. There's instructions for both with or without scales in the pattern. You don't have to panic. And if you've got scales, you can literally work so that you use up every skerrick of your yarn, so that there's no wastage and you can use up every little bit of your beautiful special yarns. So I really love this I love the pattern, yeah, toot my own horn, but I love this yarn combination. It worked out so beautifully. At first I was a little bit worried there wasn't going to be enough contrast and the little crosses were just going to get lost in there, but they don't. They work really well, and yeah, so happy with it. So the Vela shawl, available hopefully now by the time I publish this episode on Ravelry, and you'll see it pop up. I'll make another post on Instagram as well to remind people. And thanks so much to my test knitters. You all did an amazing job. It was so good. It's always so amazing with my test knitters. They're amazing, really good. And that's Rosie. There's probably kids walking past out at the front because it's after school time now. Hopefully she shushes in a sec. Oh, there you go. Goodness me. And the last thing I need to do is announce the winner of the year-long stash busting craft along prize for August. So if you can see your name just here right now, congratulations and thank you for taking part in the year-long stash busting craft along. Just contact me on Ravelry because you have won a pattern of your choice. So just let me know the name of that pattern and I will send it to you through Ravelry. So any pattern at all on Ravelry, you just let me know the name and I'll send it to you. And thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you all again very soon. Take care.